Hello YouTube, it's Donald. Today I'm going to show you how I prepare seeds for germination. And first thing I'm going to do is select a nice seed, nice fat one. And I'm going to see if I can get the camera to focus on this. Maybe not. Here we go. A little bit anyway. You can see right along the top of the seed here is a ridge. That's where the two halves of the seed casing join. And that ridge has a lot of material on it. And the goal of soaking the seeds is to let the water soak through that outer casing into the cotyledon, the white fleshy part inside. And once that gets soaked, then it starts to germinate, and it starts to sprout. But sometimes these seed casings can be pretty thick and they won't open, and the seed doesn't grow. Or it may take a week of soaking for the water to soak all the way through the casing into the cotyledon. Well, we don't want to wait that long. So what I do is I take a nail file and I file down some of these edges. Now I don't file it all the way through. I don't want to expose the cotyledon to air before it gets exposed to water, because that might kill it. So I just give a little light, very light abrasion with a nail file. And then I do the same on the sides too. I give it a little abrasion just to take down some of the material. If you can remove some of that seed casing material, your seeds will sprout faster because the water will soak through quicker. So that's how I begin my seeds, with a little bit of filing to take down some of the outer casing to make it sprout faster. The next step is I'm going to plunk this thing into some water, and I'm going to have to cut away for that, and I'll be right back. Alright, so once I've done some filing on the seed, the next thing I'm going to do is soak it. You need to soak it to let the water soak into the cotyledon inside the shell casing, and that will stimulate the plant to germinate. Now here's what I do. I use this is a glass salt shaker, and I'm going to use glass for a particular reason, and we'll get to that in a minute. This is just an old salt shaker. And I put the water in there and drop the seeds in there. Now, I'm not going to be using just plain water. This water has to be treated. I'm going to be using tap water, and I'm going to test the tap water before I do anything with it. And I'm going to measure out 1 quart. I'm certainly not going to need 1 quart, but because of the additives I'm going to be using, it's easier to measure. Now, all municipal water systems have chlorine in the water. Chlorine is a gas that's injected to the water to sanitize it. Chlorine will kill your seeds. It will kill your plants. For those of you who have kept aquariums, as I have, chlorine will also kill your fish. So we need to dechlorinate the water. Alright, a little more about chlorine. There's a couple of ways to dechlorinate your tap water. There's the old-fashioned way. It is a gas, and it will eventually gas out of the solution and dissipate into the air. But that takes about 24 hours. And what you would do is you would measure out the amount of water you're going to use and let it sit out for 24 hours and let the chlorine escape. But who wants to wait 24 hours? Not me. So I use this tap water conditioner, once again from the aquarium section of the pet store. This stuff instantly neutralizes chlorine and chloramine and it only takes 3 drops per gallon. So since I only have a quart, one drop of this stuff, and that instantly dechlorinates and neutralizes the chloramine as well. So to that I would add this stuff. It's called Rapid Start, and it's a root enhancer solution, and it consists of nitrogen, phosphate, soluble potash, and molybdenum. Molybdenum. See if you can say that 3 times fast. Molybdenum. Or molybdenum. So these are all minerals, by the way, and also from the periodic table of elements. These are elements from the periodic table, so that's interesting. It absorbs nutrients, and that stimulates root growth. So I'm going to add just a few drops because this stuff requires, when you do the math, it's 2 teaspoons for 5 gallons. So for a quart, it's 1/10 of a teaspoon. Well, I don't have a teaspoon that measures that small, so I'm basically just going to take 1, 2, 3 drops. That'll do it. And then stir it up. And then I will take I'll measure the pH again. Now that I've added things to this water sample. And see what we get. Now it's hard to see in this dim light, but it's reading at 7.1. I want to get this down to 6.0. So I'll have to add this pH down. I want my pH to come down. So I'll add this. Sorry about the dirty dishes in the sink. And I will just use my pipette to drop in a few drops and keep checking it until I get that pH down to 6.0. And I'll pick it up in a minute. I'm going to use the pH down, and because it's only a quart of water that I'm treating, I'm going to use my little pipette, and I'm going to put just a couple of drops in there. I'll check the pH again. That brought it down to 7.0, so I'm going to have to add some more. I'm going to cut away for a minute. All right, 6.1, close enough. Close enough. So now I have my solution all ready. I fill my little jar, and I'm not going to put an actual seed in there because I don't have any need to sprout any seeds right now. But what I would do is just drop the seed or seeds in there, put the cap on. Now it's not a watertight cap, but it doesn't need to be because I'm not going to be tipping it over. And then once I have the seeds in here, I'm going to put them into my little germinating tent, which has an electric warming pad. The water needs to stay warm if you want it to sprout fast. You know, if you've got the water even at room temperature, it's going to take longer to sprout than if you've got it warmed up a bit. So I have this little heating device in there, a little heating pad, a small one, which once again came from a pet store. It's something that they use in reptile cages to keep the reptiles warm. And it's going to warm my little bottle of water so my seeds will sprout nice. And I'm going to cut away now and get back to you when I go to the other little tent.